I feel like I say this in every video. I'm just like, look at how cute they are. But they are, I do. I genuinely am like, man, they're so cute. Shineless scones. Yeah. Yeah. Hi, welcome to another episode of Recreating Recipes from Culinary School. And today we will be making scones. So this is actually the only recipe that I had to look up because I was looking at the ingredients and I was a little confused. I think it's because I haven't made this recipe since culinary school. But to be honest, now that I think about it, I don't know. We did make these. We did. I remember them now. Okay, we did make these, but I wanted to double check how the recipe needed to be done. And I think for most of my baking patisserie career, I've mainly focused on cakes and a little bit of plated desserts. So I haven't done like bakery good items in a really long time. And so I had to look up this recipe. However, this recipe is referenced from one of the books we have from school. But there's two scone recipes in this book, and neither of them are the recipe that I have from our recipe packet. So I don't know if it looks like they used one recipe and kind of adjusted based off of what they thought. I don't know. So we'll figure it out together today. I hope it turns out good. To be honest, the photo that's in the book didn't make it look all that appetizing, but yeah, I think it'll be good. So we are using the cut-in method today, which is used mainly in biscuits and scones and anything where you need the butter to be cold and hold its shape. So that it gets that really nice buttery texture and flakiness in between. But I guess scones aren't really flaky though. But you know what I mean? Like that really buttery biscuit kind of feel. The recipe called for orange and chocolate. And personally, orange and chocolate is one of my favorite combinations. Even is it Terry's chocolate? The chocolate that looks like an orange is really, no, I still love them. I haven't had one in a really long time, but I always loved it. And I remember in culinary school, no, actually not in culinary school. I remember when I was applying for a job in the culinary world, if you don't know, generally when you apply for a job and you pass the first interview, they have you basically come in for a second interview, which they call a stage, and you work for the day. And so this hotel that I was applying for had me come in and make three different types of desserts. And I had made, and I think I'll recreate that too, but it was a hazelnut sponge cake with a orange infused whipped cream and a chocolate ganache. And I remember at the time I told a friend that was one of the combinations I was doing, and she was like, ugh, I hate it. And I know it's a very acquired taste. Not everybody likes it, but personally I love chocolate and citrus together, so I'm excited. I did also grab some dried cranberries because one of the hotels that I used to work for, we made I believe it was an orange cranberry cardamom scone, and it was one of my favorite scones that we had there. So yeah, so I'm gonna go ahead and get started before this butter gets too warm. Okay, so the recipe does say to sift all of your dry ingredients, so we're gonna do that. Yeah, I guess it would be my sugar too. This feels a little weird. I think because I haven't done a recipe like this in a while. And then baking powder. And we'll sift that into the mixing bowl. Okay, we have some thicker granules of sugar, but I'm just gonna toss that in. I'm gonna add the petal attachment. I'm adding all of the butter in at once. because again, we want it cold. We want the butter to have a crumbly consistency. We want it to look like little pieces of peas inside of the flour. So I'm going to show you what that looks like. Okay, so that looks pretty good. Any of the larger pieces, I'm just sifting through if there are any larger pieces, and I can just break them up by hand. Add in the liquid. I think zesting things are so satisfying. Also, this microplane, I've had it since culinary school. So I've had it for, how long? I've had it for 15 years now. It's crazy. My KitchenAid sounds so sad. I got it fixed a couple of weeks ago. Like a month or two ago, and it clearly is still having issues, so that's fun. I need to get it sent in again, which is so weird because I bought this brand new and I've never had issues with KitchenAids before. It always makes me think the quality of everything is really going down, because the KitchenAid that I got right after culinary school still works really well. I have it in the States. It's at my mom's house. But that I used that for about 12 years, and it still worked just great. And this one, I've had it for like 4 months. But yeah. Okay. So most of the dough is mixed. If you look at the bottom of the bowl there is some dry, but the recipe says to finish this by hand. So that's what I'm gonna do. It says not to overmix the dough, which in any situation, even with cakes, you'd never want to overmix because then you're gonna overwork the gluten. Okay, so I'm just gonna mix this in by hand until it is incorporated. I think also the reason why working with your hands is so fun is it kind of feeds your inner child a little bit, you know? Like, how often do adults get to make their hands messy? Again, I don't want to overwork this because also I have to add my the ingredients that's going to go inside. So I'm just going to roughly split this in half. Again, I did a half recipe. I guess with this I could have done a full recipe because the half recipe is quite small. But maybe I'll just make these into like mini scones. Grab my orange zest. My chocolate chips. Oh. Okay, and I have hot hands, so things melt in my hands so fast, so I do need to be quite mindful when I'm making stuff like this. Okay, so orange zest added in, and then We will add the cranberries. But if I like this recipe, I will definitely make these again. My dad would love these. The recipe says, I'm not going to cut these yet, but I do need to shape them. So the recipe says to form it into a circle and then cut them. The last job I had where I made scones, we shaped them into rectangles and cut them that way. So I think I'm gonna do both methods and see, and then we can see how they turn out. Oh, these smell so good. Zest from any citrus is just heavenly. Okay, so I'm gonna do the circle form. To me, it just kind of seems weird because then in my mind, because it's a circle, it's not really like, I don't know, it's like not really a scone shaped. I don't know. I'm assuming this is how we made it in school. I just don't remember. This one. We're going very much for the hand-formed look today. Why not? I'm just gonna do as I please. Okay. I feel like I already am not gonna like the circle ones because I don't know. I'm not gonna say anything. Maybe I'm just gonna be super pleasantly surprised, you know? Scones are meant to be quite thick, so I'm not gonna go thinner than this, but I am tapering the end so that I can just cut it instead of having waste on one side. Okay, so, they're so soft already. Okay, so this is our dough. I'm gonna throw these in the fridge. I'm gonna clear up the sheet pan, throw these in the fridge, and then once they're completely cooled, I'm gonna have to leave it in there for a while for them to be completely cooled. So we will chill these and then I'll come back when they need to be cut. Okay, so scones are out of the fridge. It is almost time for the sun to set, so I do need to get started on these. I'm gonna cut these into the triangle shape, which is the typical scone shape. I'm using a bench scraper. Okay, a part of me kind of wishes I added vanilla to these, but I think they'll still be good for what they are. These are definitely going to be more on the mini side. I won't bake all of these off. I'm going to bake off some of these and then I'll freeze the rest. Oh, this is going to be kind of a weird shaped one. Oh, no, I guess that works still, kind of. All right, let's see how this one's going to go. They're definitely going to be much longer than the orange and cranberry ones. Okay, so I'm gonna go ahead and throw these in the freezer. Put them in there just for a little bit so it can cool down faster and then I can throw them in the oven. It's so funny how maybe I just put more orange zest in this one. So maybe this one will be more zesty than this one will. But look how cute they are. I feel like I say this in every video. I'm just like, look at how cute they are. But they are, I do. I genuinely am like, man, they're so cute. Okay, so I just turned the oven on to preheat. The recipe did say to bake this at 375. So 170 is like 340. I think 175 is 345, so 375, 185? In case anyone is wondering, 375 Fahrenheit is 190 Celsius. Okay, so I believe the scones are ready to go into the oven, so let's take them out. 6 of them right now. I don't believe that these are gonna bake off very big at all, but also I don't know. So I don't know if you've noticed, but I've never mentioned how long I'm putting something in the oven for. And the reason why is because in culinary school, anytime we asked our pastry chef how long something would take or when it would be ready, they would always say, it's ready when it's done. And I remember we were all like, what? You can't even give us like a time frame? They never did. They never really gave us a time frame. So I got into the habit of basically when I'm baking something, I generally know how long it'll take until it's almost done. And then I go into like minute increments from there. So with these, I'm going to let them sit in there for 10 minutes, especially because this is a convection oven, or it works like a convection oven. Oh, the temperature's too high. Okay, so I'm gonna lower the temperature. Yeah, okay, I forgot. So the recipe says 375, but my oven has a fan in it, which makes it work like a convection oven, which is why I brought it down 25 degrees. So it's at 350 now. Woo, close call. I totally forgot to put an egg wash on these scones. You know, sometimes habits, even if you haven't done them for so long, are just built into you. I think in my last job, I don't think we put an egg wash on them. Which honestly, I don't think egg washes are extremely necessary, especially for something like this. I guess we'll just see how they turn out. But so far, they look really good and cute. I think it's fine. The only difference of not putting an egg wash is that it's not going to have a shine. And that's fine. They'll just be shineless scones. Shineless scones. Yeah. Okay, so scones are out of the oven. I think they're a really nice golden brown. I will just let them cool down until they're not just piping hot, and then I will give it a taste. Surprisingly, I actually prefer the shape of the chocolate chip and orange one versus the cranberry and orange one. And this is the one that I rolled into a rectangle, and this is the one that I rolled it into a circle. But that's so funny. Maybe size-wise, if these were bigger, I would have liked them bigger. But as far as how I've done them this time around, shape-wise, I want to say I like this one. Ooh, I like this one more than this one. If you have any thoughts, please leave it in the comments below. Let me know what you think, which one you prefer. So I am not going to have both because I am not super hungry right now. But I will have a taste of the chocolate chip and orange one. I'm also using Calibo chocolate for this. It makes a world of a difference when you use a really nice chocolate. Okay, so the inside texture is very cake-like, or it looks like a butter cake. This recipe didn't have a lot of sugar, so it's not sweet. I like it. I like it. I don't know. I have mixed feelings about this. Okay, so here are my thoughts. The outside is really nice and crunchy. Inside is really soft. The flavor is good. You really taste the orange zest. The chocolate gives it a nice kick. But the only thing I will say is that the scone by itself doesn't feel like, oh, this is a really good scone. And I don't know if it's because the lack of sugar that's inside of it, but the flavor of the orange zest and chocolate aside, even with that, it's not enough to kind of compensate for just the dough itself. So, I don't know. Should I start scoring these? I just realized that I haven't been. To be honest, I feel like I would give this like a 4 out of 10. It's nice because it's not sweet, but I feel like if I was making a scone like this, like when you imagine scones in the UK, I would imagine having this type of scone only because I would have it with jam or a compote or clotted cream, and the scone on its own can be quite plain. So when you mix it with fillings, then the scone I think is really great in that sense. But I think the scone on its own by itself is kind of underwhelming. I would personally either add a little more sugar or put like an icing on top, or maybe dip it in a ganache or something like that. I just feel like, yeah, just by itself, it just seems like it's good, but I don't feel wowed by it. I feel like every time I've been using these recipes, it's making me want to revamp the recipe. So, yeah. Anyway, thank you again so much for joining me on another episode of Recreating Recipes from Culinary School. I hope you enjoyed this episode. I'm pretty sure I'm going to put the recipe in the description, so if you do try out this recipe, please let me know what you think about it. And otherwise, don't forget to like and subscribe, and I will see you in the next video. Bye.